Welcome back to the 7th grade Mustache. On today's episode, we'll be speaking about fall back. It's that time of year where all of the energy of the earth begins to retreat back inside the planet. When you begin to see nature slowly die and take a long sleep, and all the animals slowly but surely begin to get where they need to be and where you won't see. So this also reminds people that they need to have their affairs in order, because as it begins to get progressively colder, resources become more scarce. And unless you're a complete brainless fool, you know that all the work you've been doing in the spring and the summer will yield results in the autumn and winter. So all the hard work you've been going hard in the summertime, going hard in the previous season in the springtime, you should have saved some money up. You should have put some things away so that if inclement weather prevents you from getting to work and missing a bunch of days, or any type of natural disaster may befall you, you will be in a situation where you will have backup energy to power your home in the form of a generator, or you will have plenty of food in your pantry, or you will have plenty of stuff to keep you busy in long days. So there was recently a hurricane that went through South Florida, on the western side of South Florida, and destroyed a bunch of stuff. And you see this happen time and time again, and these people suffer because of nature. And in a situation like that, the only thing you can do is rebuild what's been destroyed, or just get the hell out of there. Because when I see things like that, and I see people's homes being destroyed, you have to wonder, like, well, did these people know that a hurricane was going to eventually come through one day and tear shit up? Or was that even in the back of their minds? Because when you buy your home, you have to consider these things. You have to be thinking about, well, this area that I'm coming to live and start a family or start a foundation here, what type of natural disasters are prevalent in this area? California's earthquakes, in the Midwest it's tornadoes and heavy snow. In the Northeast it's heavy snow and now hurricanes. And in the Southeast it's hurricanes. So with all these different types of natural disasters, you have to have some type of a backup. I remember when I was a kid, when a tornado would pass over the city, we would always go into the basement and, we'll first open all the windows in the house to take the pressure off the structure, and then we would go down into the basement. The way the city is structured, it's very hilly near the river. And so tornadoes can't really maintain their shape in hilly terrain. So therefore, there were never any major tornadoes that destroyed the city. So we never really had issues with tornadoes, but we would see them pass over. And so one thing we would always do was have like batteries and candles and, stuff like that. Now, of course, we had a pantry full of food that we could always dip into as needed, because, that's the way my parents were raised. That's the way pretty much everybody was back then. They knew to have backup food. But how many times have you been in this situation? Maybe when you were in college or your life after high school, and you were living alone, or you had roommates and the damn lights went out and you didn't have a damn candle in that bitch. You know what I'm saying? So hopefully you've moved beyond that point. You've got a little more sense by now to have backup for when shit can go sideways. Snowpocalypse happened in Atlanta in 2010, and that was crazy. The first snowpocalypse I'm talking about, and that shut the city down, so that it ended up looking like The Walking Dead, but except with snow. Everybody was all fucked up, and they grocery stores were just emptying day by day by day. It was a trip, because like the first day you would go to the grocery store, there was just food there, and then the next day, what happened is that everything on the outside of the store, all the fresh stuff, went first. And then everything progressively started to go. Everything in the freezers went next. And everything in the cereal aisles and potato chips, until you got down to like, you would walk into the store and there would be maybe 3% of the normal inventory. And this is day number 4 in Atlanta, in a city of 7 million people. And the trucks couldn't get in because of the interstate was iced, because the people in this state and in this city had to learn the hard way that you're going to have salt and sand trucks. But growing up in the Midwest, we already know they're ready for shit like that. So we don't really have those problems up there, unless it's some crazy ass 100-year day after tomorrow winter storm. But you got to prepare yourself for these types of scenarios. When you fall back from the life of leisure or the easy times of warm weather, that calm breeze of the summertime. All that partying and everything is great, but eventually, winter comes, and when winter comes, you gotta basically have your shit together because things start getting scarce. Every year around Christmas time, people get real shady. And I'm talking about you start seeing the most desperate people that didn't prepare. And these are the motherfuckers that end up becoming Schmeagol. Gollum from Lord of the Rings.
It ain't enough money to go around. That's all it is. And so, if you had, like you said, if you had prepared at the beginning, we wouldn't be in this situation. So all of a sudden, they want to like, hey man, what you doing for the holiday? Shit, not inviting you over, motherfucker. This fall back thing, I think sometimes you got to do that same thing with people. You got to just fall back. If a motherfucker that ain't looked out for you, fall back on their ass too. Shit.
Oh, 100%. Well, okay. There is what I notice when I get around Catholic people that I know is that they have this deep sense of service and community. And I think that's wonderful. Like, that's just built into the Catholic ethos. Like, you see, Irish Catholics are big into that, helping out people that need help. And I think that's a good idea so long as that doesn't become a permanent thing. Because when it becomes a permanent thing and there's a sense of recidivism where these people continue to go through the system and over again, they don't take any steps or make effort to climb up out of the gutter, then you get a situation like San Francisco where you have a liberal government that has said yes to everything and has removed so many restrictions, and that's how you get motherfuckers shit in the street.
It's some of that's complicated because what you're trying to do is not you. I'm talking about San Francisco. They're trying to do the whole social justice warrior, and that's true. There's a lot of situations that are terrible, but the thing is, everybody's born broke. Now, staying broke is your problem. So when you come,
no, everybody ain't born broke because
whoa,
you got people like Donald Trump that are
born into money.
No, he's born on third base and swore that he hit a home run.
Yeah, yes, you have people talking this bootstrap shit, but I was referring to the fact that you can be in a bad situation.
But then, see, Dr. King said, you keep telling me to pull myself up by my bootstraps. Well, I ain't got no damn boots.
Or you got your boot on my neck at the same time. Shit, you don't want a level playing field. The idea, the concept of help is temporary. Like, you know this. When I was in college, I was on food stamps and I had Section 8. But that was because I was in college. I was broke, figuring out stuff on my own, had to pay my own bills, and still pay your own bills. But I'm saying that that's what college is for. It's like life light, so you can figure this stuff out. Now, fast forward, I graduate, I get a job, buy my first house in August of that year, and you just go. But help is to get you through something. Help is not a way of life. And when you make help a way of life, that's the whole problem with this socialism thing, with these other things. And don't get me wrong, the government should be there as a stopgap when shit gets bad or is really, really fucked up. Yes, the government should take care of its people. But you got to be able to take care of yourself. You take that money they gave you and invest it. You take, something, invest in yourself. Learn how to do a trade, that kind of shit. So that lean time is a temporary thing and not a permanent thing.
But see, going back to the people that game the system, they're enabled by people. They're enabled by people who at the lower levels are earnest in their desire to help people, like the Irish Catholics I was talking about. Those people are earnest and they want to be genuine and Christ-like and, in the way they approach, service to the common man. And that's great. But again, going back to the example of San Francisco, you have these people at the higher levels with radical ideas that will create programs, that will pass laws, that will create a
Oh my
system
God.
that eventually makes everybody miserable except for them because they don't live in these city centers. They live in crystal castles separated from reality.
Yeah, they're in suburbs. Look, I know I hate bringing up stuff we talked about in the past,
No, it
but
doesn't matter because it
it matters.
gets no,
It's
it
relevant.
matters. It matters because go listen to this episode. We got other episodes that are like Survive the Winter. Survive the Winter is a really good episode because it talks about we recorded that episode halfway through the winter 2 years ago, and there was a pandemic going on, but it was also wintertime. So in that scenario, you had cold, you had lack of resources. The earth was in North America was sleeping, so there was nothing growing. You couldn't just walk outside and pick, forage for food in the woods if you wanted to. That's another thing. You cannot go out and forage for food in the wintertime because there's no natural plants growing that you can eat. There's no edible plants growing in, in even in Georgia, which is like subtropical. So then on top of that, you had the pandemic happening, and then there was the jobs. There was no place for a lot of people to work. We'll say 60 to 70% of the population. So then like that was the impetus for this episode called Survive the Winter, like how to keep your mind right, how to be tactically adept at
Aware.
surviving that
Yeah.
situation. But expanded awareness is very important in this entire discussion because expanded awareness speaks to how you have to zoom out.
Pay attention.
You have to
Yeah.
zoom out and pay attention to not just one thing in front of you, but
Yeah.
everything around you.
Look, one of the things that comes up, and this is an example. I hate, fuck it, let's get personal. So I meet my wife. If she wasn't my wife yet, or we're dating or whatever, and she comes up here from where she was. So I'm helping her, and she's also using the system. She's getting training. She gets her own place. Gets a townhome, a 5 bedroom, 4 bathroom townhome, huge, from the government. And then working with
Five
her.
bedroom, that's fucking huge.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
On Section 8?
Yep, yeah. It was
Wow.
brand new, built over in Bellevue.
Okay.
It's on our circle. Um, so every kid had their own room. It might have been four. Either way, it still had 3 bathrooms, four
It
bedrooms. I
was
might
the
have said a bathroom.
biggest house those kids have ever lived in their lives.
I don't know because I know they lived in their family shit, but the shit was brand new. And so she stayed there for about a year and a half. And then moved in with me. We bought a house and yada yada yada. But the whole point is, my wife is like, she brags about that shit. Like, look, I'm not on Section 8. I'm not on anything. I'm not on any kind of aid. And that was, and she said in the beginning, I guess she never thought she could be like that. But she said it's always been the goal, but it was always in the back of your mind, never in the front. And she's like, and she was talking about, that's one thing about us being together is that you were never like this is you would never you would encourage me, but you were never like that's not the way to be. This is temporary. We're on an incline. It's a chart, and we're going this way. And I'm with you. We're going up. And so
Hold on.
you know,
You never reminded her of the fact, or you never mentioned the fact that she was on Section 8?
I mean,
What are you
I
saying? I
was
don't understand what you're saying.
no. What I'm saying is that was always temporary. In my mind, Section 8, since I was on Section 8, it was temporary. That was just a thing. That's just
But what is
end to
she, you
me.
saying she bragged about something. What did she brag about?
She's bragging about not having any aid, not needing any help from the government or anybody
Anymore.
else. Period. Yeah. And she said she was basically saying like where she comes from. There are a lot of people that are still on Section 8 their whole life. There are people who are getting food stamps their entire life. Um, she said, I guess I don't know if I thought about that for myself. I wanted more, but I didn't have a clear path how to get more. You dig what I'm saying? Like you can think about something, but thinking about it and doing it ain't the same thing. And so, she was out of time talking to her cousin, like, yeah, no, I don't use none of that. I'm proud that I was on it. I'm proud that it helped me, but yeah, I don't need any help anymore. And that's the whole thing is that now the reason I bring that up, you were talking about them programs in California. You do know they had a program in California where they were paying gang members not to kill people. You know that, right?
No.
Okay. So I think I want to say Davidson or Bakersfield, whatever. Look it up. So they were paying the gang members a stipend not to kill people, not to shoot each other. That's the kind of dumb shit I'm talking. So like, so they're a gang member, they're a criminal. And look, I have gang ties. I know people in gangs. My father was in a gang. Forgive me, but you actually have. So you're going to tell somebody honestly not to shoot people. You think that's going to work? But they're paying these people a stipend. That I also brought this up. My child was going to North at the time. One of my kids, and they were paying her not to miss school. Like, okay, if you don't miss a whole month, we'll give you $300, shit like that. And I'm like, you're enabling them. So my kids learned early how to be part of the system, and the thing is, they learned how to game the system. But a lot of them didn't learn how to what to do on the other side, because those lessons are usually taught by parents. Those lessons of, hey, you learned a lesson here. The lesson of, hey, work hard and this will be your reward. The idea of, no, instead you're paying somebody who doesn't understand the concept of money too early. And if you don't understand the concept, pay attention. Look at these athletes, and not just black, but look at white and Mexican. Look at all these athletes. Look at the ones that came from good homes, so they get to the NFL, Major League Baseball, NBA, whatever. The ones that usually have kind of a solid base tend to do a little bit better. But the ones that, hey man, like you're the whole hope of the family, you get there. Next, you know, they got you paying everybody's bills, and you don't even take care of yourself. You don't know what to do with money. You make poor decisions. But
Evander Holyfield.
Uh, Mike Tyson was exploited. Don't forget them people. Some are straight up exploited. Some don't know what to do with the money. Whatever the case is, the point I'm making is that when you expose somebody to money too early, and you don't have these fail safes. You know, your father taught you how to. You got jobs. You were working. You had your own. You had the whole ecosystem of financial learning when you were very young. So when you got on your own,
but I chose to do that.
Yeah,
I chose to do that. I was like, I want this. How do I get that? And I'm like,
yeah.
that's how you get it.
And your dad showed you like how you get it here. Your dad had you doing bills early. You had no culture shock when you got on your own. You had complete expectations.
What it was is, okay, let me explain to you a little further, like the ideology behind that. It was autonomy, and it was me moving towards autonomy at the earliest age that I could do that legally, and that was 10 years old. And I knew that I had to get free of what I came from to get to where I wanted to, but still living with my parents until I could legally get the fuck up out of there.
Look, childhood is temporary. Childhood is your Section 8. You understand? You dig what I'm
It
saying? So when
is.
you're a
That's a
kid,
good
yeah.
analogy.
So when you were a kid, you on food stamps in Section 8. But as you grow, your responsibility should grow. And then when you step out, like yeah, you'll make a few mistakes. Look, you already know what my first bill was. I know what your first bill was. You
Mm-hmm.
know, you had some. My first bill was my car payment. Remember,
Yeah.
I got a truck in high school, and I literally didn't drive my truck for a year because I was paying on it, but I had to pay my own insurance. My mom couldn't afford to pay the insurance. Like, you got to pay your own insurance. So I got home. Was like, man, you got your own vehicle. I'm like, yep, but I can't drive because I can't. So I had to save up, pay my own insurance for a full year. I was out. We went everywhere. We did everything. But me and you was independent. We always had bikes. We were always doing stuff.
Always.
So yeah. But like I said, the lessons that you try to learn at home or try to teach at home sometimes are corrupt,
Corroborate.
corrupted, no, corrupted by the state. When you got kids now, you got my homegirl just went the same thing I went through, where her daughter decided that since she would get a check for being in foster care, she told these people that she was going through stuff she wasn't going through, and they snatched her out my homegirl's house and put her in a foster home, did all kinds of stuff,
Damn.
and yeah, because somebody at school told her like, yeah, if you're in foster care, you get a check. And that's all she needed to hear.
The
So
kid.
yeah, yeah.
So
The
the
kid,
kid was motivated by money.
yes.
Oh, that's dirty.
But the thing is, she's not buying stuff. She's not some greedy kid. It's just the fact that she knew, okay, I can get 1,100 a month. I can get 2,300 a month. I can get this much money a month in foster
But
care.
no. To separate you from your mother, and then
Yes,
you're not even thinking about like the emotional anguish that's going to cause your
nope.
mother.
But
No,
man,
see, no.
put
That's not
put that woman
greed.
through.
That's not greed. That person is a sociopath.
But you got a lot of kids that are like that because
Okay, so this is creating a sociopath. See,
society.
okay,
Say it. Yeah, you
yes,
said some good
but
shit. Yeah.
what? See, because here's the thing: sociopaths will play the game. They will
Hmm.
play the game to get what
They'll
they
blend
want.
in.
Right.
Yeah.
And they're also ripe for victimization because they're looking to manipulate, but they don't realize because they're not holding all the cards that the house still controls them and they can be bounced out of the casino at any fucking time.
Here's a problem with Roscoe. Here's where it gets worse. So that when they phase out the system at 18, 19, 21, because if you're still in school, you'll if you're working or in school, you still get some help. But when that shit runs out, and all of a sudden they don't have the skills to pay the bills.
Okay. But check this
They're
out. But see, all right, in a lot of these situations though, it becomes a pipeline. And so there's a
for
pipeline
what? For
from
what?
foster care to the sex trade
So
to the
yeah,
military industrial complex. So the problem with this is that
don't forget the prison industrial complex too,
but
because they're
let's
already institutionalized. Excuse me.
so with women, the problem with women is that these women that were victimized, that were molested in the foster system, they then once they're 18, they're on the street, and then they become sex workers, and then they belong to a pimp, and then they get caught up in some type of crime, and then they're in the penitentiary. So these people, the fucked up part about this is that these people are victims, but the problem is their victimization is in the past, in the near past.
Here's the part. They then become the aggressor because they abuse their own families in that say, look, so you get
It's a
abused by
zombie bite, dude. It's a zombie bite.
and they don't understand that what look,
They don't
you
know
know
if they're infected.
look, hurt people.
There you
And
go.
you hear that, and I'm not trying to make an excuse, but you got to understand that sometimes you don't even have the mental capacity to understand the damage that you're doing to other people or your loved ones. And what frustrates you, because like I said, the story you described is one of my kids in particular. But now that she's back here, she's a manager at a fast food restaurant doing the same thing that I had planned for her, envisioned for her before she went through her ordeal. You understand? So that hurts your feelings, but
Is this the
that's
one
just
that
life.
was in South Dakota?
Correct.
Okay,
So
but here's the problem though, because that trauma is will always be there,
it's still, oh yes,
and it's all
um,
about
yeah.
how she manages the trauma.
What makes it complicated is women are good at compartmentalizing stuff, but
Hmm.
sometimes they compartmentalize the wrong part and don't allow themselves the
Healing.
yeah. But I don't. The opportunity to heal. How's that sound? Like literally, I got to do this every day. I got to go to work. I got to take care of my kid. Yada yada yada. And so, like I said, I'm proud because where she is now, she doesn't even know this. I'm proud of her. But this is what I had planned for you early on. You could have went this route and not added. There was still trauma from being in foster care. You got to understand that.
Right, but check this out. So hold on a
Hold
second.
it. Wait, go back to what you were saying. So when you say foster care is a straight up pipeline for the sex trade, it really is. And that goes back to all your past podcasts, our past podcasts, excuse me, when we talk about literally that you have people, orphans, and people in foster care, and people who don't have families, or people who lose their families. They are ideal. They're ripe for the picking. So, what are two things happen when you lose contact with that kid? Either they have mental issues and they're on the street, or they're organ harvested, or they're sex workers and they're
Okay,
shipped off someplace.
check this out. So this brings it full circle. It brings it full circle back to fallback. My father and I would go for a drive sometime. He's like, "Come on, let's go." And we would get in the car and we would drive and we would talk. And he would take me to the ghetto. And see, For those people who don't know the difference between the hood and the ghetto, I'm gonna tell you. The hood is where black people live. The ghetto is where motherfuckers are trapped. Okay,
They're
that's the
forced.
difference.
They're forced to
So
be there. The
now, but
ghetto's not by
we will go
choice.
to the ghetto, and he would take me down there to show me. He was like, "Look here, son. You see those women over there standing on the corner?" He said, "Some of them are there by choice, and some of them are not." And he would do this. He wouldn't do this when it was warm outside. He would do it when it was cold outside. And he was like, "You know what?" He said, "Look around. There's snow on the ground. We're in the city. It's dirty. It's grimy, and these people are doing this to survive." He said, "You see people out here struggling hard." He said, "But it doesn't have to be this way for them, you know." And I think a lot of people should do that with their kids. You're teaching them how to expand their awareness early, and you're taking them out in the elements
Out of their
in
comfort zone.
the summer, in the autumn, and in the winter, and show them, like, you see, look around, you see how everything is dying and everything is going inside the earth. It's like you have to prepare. You have to excuse me. You have to prepare, because what is coming is nothing. Is nothing, because everything dies for a time, and then there's a rebirth, and then abundance returns. Abundance, abundance, abundance. But before that abundance, times are hard. And you can't be living in those hard times without something to keep you going, without something to keep you from focusing on how much food you have, or how hungry you are, or where dinner's going to come from.
Or what resources are available, or any of
Exactly.
that stuff.
Because I'm going to tell you something, man. Like, throughout my life, the less I focus on food, the more I can get shit done. The less I focus on the bills, the more creative I am. The more I can get shit done.
It's
And
okay.
I'm gonna tell you another thing. I'm gonna tell you another thing.
We've been
The
lied to
more,
by so
the
much shit.
more, the less I focus on money, the better a lover I am to all the women I've been with.
Look, the more creative you are, the more natural you are. Look, the way it works is when money is what drives you, you don't always get shit done. You need to be creative, and you need to be able to make money by accident.
But you hear that
Or
all the time, because there's all these people who come from nothing and then they become rich, and they're like, money can't be the reason, because they got this money and they were like, oh, the walls are just farther away from me now than they were before. You know,
that's the goal, though. The goal is to get your property, and people can't tell you what to do, whatever. But you're saying some deep shit. Look, so when we talk about just read these books that were written in the 1930s about food, or read even the new discoveries where people are telling you like fasting is the way to go. Like what they're saying is literally it's proven that when you struggle, like when you're in the hot, when you're in the cold, when you don't eat right away, those things actually make you stronger and healthier. In fact, if you pay attention, we see this every day and we don't realize it. Like you got a dog, you feed your dog once a day. Man, the healthiest my dog's ever been was when I was broke, and that dog was tenacious was great. But when he got older and I got more money and I'm feeding him all this fancy food, doing all this, that's when he started getting sick. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm sure age is a factor and dogs age differently, but I'm trying to tell you, it's a proven fact when you don't eat every day, when you are exercising and you're in the elements and you experience the hot, the cold, and when you experience extremes, it makes you stronger and healthier.
yes, but stop right there. I got to stop you right there, because I have been at the extremes, right? And what I can tell you is that is a survivalist mentality. Now, as a practitioner of the Tao, I got to tell you something, man. You can't live at extremes for too long, because it will damage you permanently. And so,
It,
no. Wait, balance is important in life. I got to speak on this. Balance is very important in life, and too much of anything will kill you. Too much water will drown you. So you have to experience lean times, but you also have to experience the fat times. But you have to live in the middle. You have to stop and enjoy the
but
things
hold
in
it.
life, but don't saturate yourself with things that are
You
going to
say
make you
hold it,
soft. And wait, hold on, bro. I'm gonna let you speak. Just hang on, dude.
oh no, you saying some deep
But
shit. I'm
here's the
disagreeing with.
thing. So the thing is that you can't saturate your life with ease because ease will kill you. Ease becomes
Makes you disease.
dis-ease.
Disease, yes.
So you have to you got to be hungry sometimes. But you know what?
Look,
And then get yourself a nice fat meal and get full and enjoy because you got to know what
the
that
fruits
feels
of
like
the fruits of your labor.
so that the meals
Yes.
that come after that you're not going to gorge yourself anymore because you know where the limit is. You got to know where the edges are. Go ahead, man.
Look, no, no. I was actually agreeing with you. I was saying, look at our diet. So much of the stuff we eat, like here, look. The reason I'm fat is I got blessed. I got a good job, and then I started buying shit I like. The fact of the matter is, many of the things we consume are delicacies. They should be eaten once or twice a year. Cheesecake once a year. Certain meat once a year. But
So
instead,
that when
when you
you
start,
take bites of those delicacies,
you savor
savor
it.
it.
Yes. See, no, no, I wasn't trying to. I was trying to stop your train of thought. That's not what I was saying. I was agreeing with you. Is that the fact of the matter is that many of the things that we consider delicacies, we're actually eating every day. A hamburger is a delicacy. Um, no, it sounds crazy because of this American culture and the commercials that we watch. We think we can have a burger every day. No, a burger should be every 2 months, 3 months. Many of the meat we eat should be every couple months. But again, the when you're dealing with wintertime, it's hard to store certain things. You can store some meat, freezer, yada yada yada. But the bottom line is many of the stuff we consume is our delicacies and should be eaten every once in a while, not every day or every month. And so, and it's really hard for people to understand the scarcity part that you talk about because I don't want to deprive myself. You're not depriving yourself. You're actually keeping you where you need to be. Your body. People do a lot better when they fast a little bit. People do a lot better when even we discuss this with the fruits and vegetables. That shit is actually transferable. When you bruise a fruit on the tree, it heals. That those radicals are transferable. So we talk about this stuff all the time, but again, like you said, bro, people can't put the shit together. So you have to understand that the fall and the winter is temporary. So you struggle to get through that. Then you hit the springtime and the summer, and it's abundance. And so you actually have this built into the world around you. If you follow the rules of nature, you'll experience that scarcity and that abundance, scarcity and abundance, scarcity and abundance naturally. And so if we just dealt with that like we're supposed to, we would be stronger. I remember you said this, like, you're like, man, how many of these fruits are out of season? You remember you talking about, man, I remember when fruits had a season, like, okay, so peaches were this month or this month, and apples were this month. Now it's like you got peaches, apples, oranges all year long. That's not natural. That's not how this goes. And so it's really important that you recognize this stuff and you behave accordingly. That's all. Look, I'm agreeing with you that yeah, you can't starve yourself all the time, and you can't be rock climbing every day of the year. But damn it, you got to give yourself a little struggle, and you got to reward yourself on the other side.
Well, speaking to something as simple as diet, when it comes to fruit being in season, part of that, as you say, is built into the environment around you. So if there are fruits and vegetables that can be eaten in the autumn, they probably shouldn't be eaten in the winter. Now, the exception probably being apples. Apples can be eaten all year round because of the way that when you harvest an apple, it can be stored for quite some time. Now, the thing about vegetables, the root vegetables, they penetrate the earth. And the root vegetables like carrots and radishes and stuff like that, potatoes, those are often stored in a root cellar. Traditionally, they were stored in a root cellar. And so the mom or grandma would go down to the root cellar in the wintertime to get some potatoes, some sweet potatoes, and some carrots and stuff like that. Bring it back upstairs, wash it off, chop it up, and prepare it for dinner. But then, when springtime began to come around, then you have all of these green vegetables that you can consume because they're sticking back up through the earth. right? Life is penetrating the surface again. Everything is coming back. See, what's happening is there's a slow pulsing of light, and that light turns down and becomes dim in the wintertime. Even the sun and the angle of the sun, because of the tilt of the earth, the light is dim. As in the north, we call it the low winter sun, right?
Yeah.
And the sun doesn't get over a certain angle, degree in the sky. It never gets to like completely high noon, right? So, but
That's why southern exposure for your plants is important because the sun's always over there, but in the winter
correct.
it's lower in the sky.
Right. So here's the thing. There's this pulsation that's happening where the energy goes back down inside the earth. And the same thing happens to your body. The energy goes deep into the center of your organs to keep you warm, to keep the earth warm. Okay. And then in the springtime, that energy comes bounding back to the surface. The same thing. That's why everybody's so high on life in the springtime, because everything is alive. The vibration has increased. It has pulsed back outward toward the surface. And now everybody wants to go and mate because they're feeling that, their oats, they got to sow their oats. But so the only problem with this is the flux, the shifting of toxins that have accumulated in your body living in the Western world. So then this shifting of the toxins causes people to catch colds or have allergic reactions or sneeze as the seasons change, right? So if that's happening to you, that means you need to cleanse yourself in the spring and in the autumn, because that's the best time to catch the toxins when they're in flux, when they're moving out of the fats that have been stored in your body.
They're being burned off.
Correct. But this right here speaks to expanded awareness, and how in this expanded awareness you become quietly aware of things. That's one thing I learned through the Tao is quiet awareness, observation, paying attention to everything around you and inside yourself. Because if I eat something and it gives me bubble gut, like my stomach starts making noises, my intestines are making noises, I'm not going to eat that thing again until I get myself cleaned out to figure out why am I having this reaction to this thing that I'm eating. Yeah.
Look, people, that's when people aren't self-aware, when they don't pay attention to their surroundings. And when I say surroundings, I don't mean just their environment, because your body is part of your surroundings. Your body is your environment also. And they don't recognize these things going on. They can't tell that, okay, I just ate some shit that didn't agree with me. I'm poisoning myself over and over daily. What should I do about that? How can I correct the situation? And like I said, I had this conversation with my ex. I'm like, hey, I told her fasting is really important. Well, why do you feel better when you eat a big meal? I said, you feel better. You're not being better.
Yeah, but see, that's mouth pleasure.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. Is that's why you said like you feel your belly every once in a while.
Ease. Too much ease becomes dis-ease.
Dis-ease. And the thing is, after that big meal, all of a sudden you become sedentary. You want to sleep. You want to lay around. You don't want to move around and burn it off. And like I said, I told her, you're letting a feeling dictate your own health.
So use chemistry for better living. And what I'm talking about is if you feel yourself getting sleepy or drowsy, and you still have stuff to do, but you don't want to drink caffeine, and it's getting late, and you don't want to drink caffeine because it's going to keep you up all night, go and pop some popcorn. If you go and pop popcorn, the smell of popping popcorn triggers the brain to be alert. I'm not sure exactly why it does that, but the smell of popcorn makes the brain alert. For example, if I have a deadline, if I'm working on something creative, or I want to metaphorically smoke a cigarette, you know what I'm saying? Metaphorically, I don't smoke cigarettes, but if I wanted to like have that feeling that people get from cigarettes, I go and pop a bag of popcorn. It does wonders for resetting your brain state. It basically like shifts it gives you the alertness that you have when you're playing pickup basketball. Yeah. That's a similar feeling. Like when I'm playing like 21 or like 3-on-3. That's the same feeling I have when I pop a bag of popcorn. My brain is in the alpha state. Yeah. So try that
It
out.
rec-
Like if you ever want to
it
like wake
recognizes
yourself
that
up.
smell. It's a trigger.
Yeah. If you ever want to wake yourself up, it happens. It works for everybody. Like you pop a bag of popcorn in a room where everybody's feeling drowsy and just bring that shit in there. Everybody sits up. Like, can I get some of that? Like for real. Like it wakes everybody up.
Look, I already told you. Like, I was driving out of town. Your niece is the one who told me. She said, eat sunflower seeds. Sunflower seeds will wake you up. I don't know if it's just the fact that you're
It's the
having,
skull. It's the skull chewing on something hard.
or the fact that you got to focus on, splitting them and not biting your tongue
That's
and
true. That's true too. Yeah, sunflower
yeah,
seeds. Yeah, that's
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Like, if I gotta
That's
drive
that's
12
my that's
hours,
my kin right there.
yeah, you see, like you just do. I'm like, whatever. You're an idiot. No, she's brilliant. Because I use it all the time now. Like
Yeah.
if I gotta drive that 12 hours, I use it.
Right.
Look, what we're trying to tell you is that this fall thing, falling back, it's a real thing. Too much of anything, too much sunlight, too much this. I get all that, and fall is that mediator. It brings you down gradually. Well, I live in Nebraska. Ain't nothing gradual about our weather. We went from 95 to 63 in 2 days, but this is what it is. But yeah, it's a gradual or subtle resetting where you're recognizing, you're seeing it come. You can deal with it. You can prepare for it, and that's what we're talking about, preparing for it, whether it's physical or financial or even food, whatever. You need to prepare for these things because you know they're coming. And that's also why we brought up some of these other situations. Like I said, my kids in foster care. Sometimes those things don't prepare you, for what's on the other side. They just give, give, give. Then all of a sudden they just shut it off. And all of a sudden, then you don't have the emotional or mental faculties to deal with it. Like I said, I brought up the fact that my wife was on Section 8, I was on Section 8. Yeah, but I never thought of being on Section 8 for the rest of my life. In fact, I thought of buying houses for people to be on Section 8, which I'm telling you, that sucks too. So that's another conversation. But just the idea of getting help, being there when it's needed, that's awesome. But not needing help is my ultimate goal. Not needing a crutch, not needing a walker, not needing something. Yeah, I don't
Autonomy.
want. Yeah, yeah. Well, that's my. See, not everybody has that same goal, and we see that, and we acknowledge those situations. But the fact of the matter is that you're pretty damn dope. Like me and you, we deal with it on our own. Like when shit does happen, I'll be there for you. You're there for me. But look, that's not how I want to live my life. And sometimes I do have a trouble. I have a problem accepting help. So I got to be realistic and understand. But again, my idea of help is temporary. Like, hey, bro, you need some bucks? I got you. Hey, bro, hey,
But
I got to lift up this heavy, whatever, this heavy picture, this heavy TV. You get the other side, I get this side, and that's my idea of help.
check it
Help is
out.
temporary.
But check it out. So, this insulation from hard times, I think the extreme of that is that rich people, they insulate themselves so much with their
Yeah,
communities, right? With their gated communities and
there's
their
suburbs.
high
Yeah,
rises and their concierge and their passcodes and retina scans and all this stuff. They become so insulated in the ease. They have no tactile experience with suffering. They have no tactile experience with lean times. So that's why you see them go and do stupid things like create CrossFit so they can emulate the hard work of a farmer and day laborers and movers. So
that's a fashion thing. That's some deep
so
shit right there.
they can feel like they're alive. They'll go and they'll create a thing they'll call it a paleo diet just so they can access the primal mind. Go.
Look, we've seen that shit in the past. Look at fashion in Europe in 1600s. You ever notice how these people are wearing these beautiful dresses, but they're wearing aprons? Because they're imitating the poor people. Look, you got men and women wearing aprons. They're imitating. Or remember the bulldog. The bulldog was developed it was a butcher's dog. It was to kill cows. But when that became outlaw, bull baiting became outlawed, what did they do? They crossed the bulldog with the pug. That's why the bulldog is so fucked up now. But that was because those rich people, they wanted a bulldog they can control. Sounds dumb as hell. Look it up. They literally lessened this animal just so they could. Yes, I have a bulldog. They want to brag about shit. They want to look extreme, but not be extreme. Um, I told you that Arab dude said, "Look, my grandfather rode a camel. My father rode a camel. I rode a camel, but now I drive a Lamborghini. My son drives a Lamborghini." And what he said was, "Hard men make the world easy. Weak men make the world hard." He was talking about his children. They've never known scarcity. They never known anything hard, and all they're going to do is make. But the reason I'm saying that is we see that every day in our daily lives. We see these kids who make the world a harder place, making poor decisions. They all want to be on a reality show. They all want this. They want the success without the work. They all want all these different things, and then they want to give you advice. Like they're fighting you. Okay, back in the day, people got mad at Bill Cosby because he was on the Arsenio Hall show explaining how gangs work. And Arsenio's like, no, it's not like that. He's like, no, it's all about turf. He said, yeah, they sell drugs, but you only sell drugs on your own turf. You get turf from somebody else to expand your drug trade. And he's like, but these gangs now, they're about clout. They're not about turf or making money or drugs or anything else. They're just about, hey, and you got these people going on Facebook, social media, admitting to crimes. Man, you better not show up here. Yeah, nigga, we iced this month. You're bragging about first-degree murder. What the fuck is going on?
You're incriminating yourself by recording a confession.
Man, look, I thought real gangsters move in silence. These motherfuckers ain't silent at all, and now it's biting them in the ass because your governor in the state of Georgia is like, look, you got these rap lyrics, and this shit happened. We take you to court. You get a RICO predicate. All y'all going down. But again, they learn about scarcity, huh, bro? But what I'm saying is that, like, literally, what the rules don't apply anymore, not because the rules were bad or didn't make sense, is because there's a different set of rules that you're applying to a situation that you shouldn't apply it to. You want to be a celebrity, but you want to be a gang member at the same time, or you want to be a celebrity and a gangster. And we learned a long time ago, John Gotti, being a gangster or a celebrity eventually doesn't work. Because the idea is for people not to know who you are and not to know your activities, and for you to be successful in public but work in private. And that's the thing. But instead, it's just the opposite. You're not doing any work, but you want to look like you're a baller. You're holding money to your head. You're bragging about this. You're bragging about that. Like I said, they're not equipped to make the world an easier place. You make
That's
the world
short
a harder
vision.
place.
That you don't have long vision.
At all. You can't see on the other side or predict what might happen. Or this goes back to the social path stuff where you don't care. You just want to blend in long enough because you think you're better than everybody, and eventually you'll be discovered or you'll do something outstanding or spectacular. Look, the big thing right now, there's a couple of shows that everybody's watching. Tyson is one of them, and Dahmer. And what you got to understand about these serial killers, most of them at one point in time, they wanted to be caught. They're like, look, I can't stop myself. The compulsion is too much. But also at the same time, when they were doing it, they knew exactly what they were doing. They tell you, I felt like I was God. I felt like nobody can touch me. They talk about these despicable things. And, at some point in time, also, they how many of them sit here and tease the police? Like send little mementos, MBK, or murder, death, kill? He was Kreiner. He was sending shit to the police years later. He would send like an ID from one of the women he had killed many years ago, that kind of stuff. He killed that one whole family. This guy was a piece of shit. And he went to church. That's how he got caught, because he was going to church and he uses the church computer to type the shit up. This guy was real despicable. But the thing is, they want to blend in, but they always feel that they're better than everybody. And that's what's going on with these kids now, or this younger generation. They feel like they're better, but they haven't worked hard. They haven't accomplished anything. They think everybody's dumber than them. Like, yeah, I'm a genius. No, you're not. You're not a genius. You want to be Floyd Mayweather or you want to be the Kardashians, but there's no road to get there. You think you're just born great. And like I said, in the fallback, the scarcity of your life, you won't be able to make it through the scarcity because you don't understand how to plan or how to put stuff away or have the discipline to do anything that's necessary to maintain your own
Or when it just
lifestyle.
fall back and shut up and just watch.
Oh my
You
God,
know what I'm
keep your mouth
saying?
shut and observe.
Yeah.
Observe. A lot of the shit that you go through can be avoided because if you paid attention to somebody else's struggle
I
or
mean,
somebody what they're
for
doing.
example, like cryptocurrency, people need to fall back from that a bit because I think it's cool to put some money in it, but don't put all your money in that shit. Don't put a whole bunch of money. Don't make big gambles on that shit.
See, but this is the conversation that me and you we have in private. So let's have it in public. Look, when you have all these rich people telling you to diversify, you should diversify. Those motherfuckers are full of shit, and I'm gonna tell you why. Most rich folks, men, women, white, black, tall, short, whatever, most of them got their money off a big windfall. Then they diversified. So if they're telling you to diversify early, you literally
Those
won't
are
have
trust fund kids.
yes, that their money was guaranteed. And look, the example I give is everybody talks about Warren Buffett, billionaire, but do you know where most of his cash comes from? Coca-Cola. Coke pays that 3% dividend. So he owns like 300 million, some crazy number. When you look it up, it's crazy, like 300 million shares of Coke. And the reason he does that is Coke is a super performer. You bought Coke early. The stock is worth a lot of money, but he's like an asset. If you have to sell an asset, it's not an asset. But that dividend that it pays, makes millions and millions of dollars every year off just the dividend from that Coke stock. That's why he does that. So what I'm saying is pay attention. Yeah, he has all kinds of other stuff, but what he makes his cash on, his spending money, is that. He pays a bit of capital gains tax, and he's good. That's what I'm saying. We talk about Elon Musk. We talk about Bezos. All of them motherfuckers were part of the PayPal mafia. They all invested in PayPal. PayPal takes off. They take their money and then they go invest in other things, in Amazon, in Tesla, whatever. So the whole idea, well, you need to diversify. You diversify after you get your big windfall. You get your big windfall, whatever that might be, then you invest that, and then okay, now I diversify. And many of us we're taught the other way. They're telling you something backwards. They're telling you like, okay, if you diversify, then you won't have enough money in there to make any real impact on your life. That's why don't listen to these motherfuckers. They're full of shit. Um, Look, my
Hold on.
brother.
Expanded awareness was something we were
mm,
talking about earlier. And one of the things you can do if you have small children is teach them skills early. Because if you teach them something early, if you teach them like different things early, if you teach them how to start a fire, if you teach them how to change a tire, if you teach them how to play the violin, if you teach them how to shoot a free throw, you teach them how to build a chair, or how you teach them woodworking, or you teach them how to hang drywall. You teach them these tools that become abilities,
Trades.
these things that will be useful to them. They will contribute to society, because one of the worst things you can do as a parent is to have a child who does not have any talents or any skills, because skills become talent. And I really believe that, because if you can learn something and you apply yourself to it and get really good at it, it is a talent then, because you're good at something that you've learned to do. So if you can teach them these things that they can feed themselves with later in their lives, because that's important. You're raising a human that will be an adult one day, and you want that adult to be successful, then you need to make sure they're learning stuff that's going to make them an effective person in the society, within the society they live in.
Man, you saying some deep shit. Like what you're saying is don't release your child into society and they're not prepared to be an adult because
Mm-mm-mm.
all they're going to do is leech from that society.
Mm-mm.
They're going to take from it instead of adding to it. So you can tell when you talked about those helicopter parents. Many of them know that they raised a weak ass kid. Many of them know they didn't even raise their kid at all. And this is the conversation that look. This is going to be some relationship shit. So here's the breakdown when it comes to some people. So you have a kid early. Now, what's the first thing you understand is sibling love before you understand parent-child love. So many of these men and women who have kids early raise their kids as if that's your little brother or your little sister, your little sibling. I'm never going to spank my kid. I'm not going to show my kid this. If they don't want to do that, I want, that kind of bullshit. So then
But that kid ain't
what
your
happens?
friend.
But exactly. So what happens is now this child thinks that they're your equal and haven't ascended at all. They're just a bigger version of a child. Now, the reason I bring this up, look at these relationships. I got a homegirl that's in a relationship right now, and she's complaining like the guy lets me do everything. And I said, you don't understand. He doesn't understand man-woman love. He understands mother-son love. So since you're taking care of him, he's looking for his mother. You're imitating his mother, and he's letting you do it. As a man, we should be evenly yoked. In fact, the man should actually have more of the burden because society was designed for that shit. So you would think that she's like, man, he still helps me with this, this, and this. And I said, look at that. That's because he doesn't understand man-woman love. He understands mother-son love. So that's why he's behaving like a son and not behaving like a man. And when I try to tell people that people are behaving certain ways in these relationships, it's because it's what's familiar to them. I'm not dissing anybody, but the problem is this: when as my kids got older, one of my daughters has a kid now, and she's like, I get it now. I was basically treating my brother, I'm treating my brother like he's, going to be a little kid forever. But then she's harder on her own son than she is on her grown brother. She's saying like, yeah, that's because mother son love. You're trying to prepare that little brother to be a man someday. So you give him little obstacles and you let him achieve, and you're like, oh yeah, I'm proud. You good job. Way to go. Even when you're clapping, the kids walking like, come to mama, come to dad. See, so what I'm saying is that many times the love that's familiar to us, we end up impacting that on our mate, and that's not how it's supposed to go. So when you're with a man or woman, hopefully you're two whole people. But life don't always be like that. You fall in love with somebody who hasn't ascended yet, and they're still a child, or they still have childish ways. Or you fall in love with somebody who ain't resolved some issues. So, like I said, many times the reason we mess up these relationships is that we're putting our idea of love on that other person when we haven't. That idea of love hasn't ascended. It's Yeah, I get it. It's a pain in the ass, but what I'm saying is that many times, like when you're young and you have a kid, you don't understand parent child love. You understand brother sister sibling love, and that's a bad thing. When you become an adult and you get in a relationship and you meet your mate, you're still acting like whatever you experience with your mother and father and that kind of thing, and that you putting that on your mate. No, you should be an adult by this time, hopefully, if we're blessed, and you should be like, hey, we're equal, we're evenly yoked. Hey, I get this done, you get that done. We're a team, and we're achieving a goal. So in this help thing, the bottom line is that help is temporary. Whatever help is supposed to be something to get you through a difficult time, but help should not be a lifestyle. Or unless and even if you're doing service to others, that can be a problem too. Because with me, I suffer from ADHD, and I've talked about it in the past. You'll fuck around and you'll try to find somebody who's damaged because it stimulates your brain, or you find somebody who's damaged so you don't even address your own issues. It's your excuse not to be an adult. Like, okay, you're worse off than me. And
Okay,
so,
stop right there. You just said two things that were very interesting. You said help is a lifestyle and looking for an excuse not to be an adult.
yeah,
So part of that right there is manipulation.
self manipulation at that. We're not just talking about manipulating others. You can also manipulate yourself.
Well, yeah. You're shifting down. You're keeping
Yeah.
yourself in a low gear and in a
Yes.
low vibration so that you can attract people that will enable you.
And when you say enable, we're not talking about enabling me to do good things.
Enable
You're
you
enabling
to accomplish your goal of feeding
of
off of the generosity of others.
yeah. Well, no, not that. It's actually the opposite. I'm enabling myself not to reach my full potential. I'm finding somebody who's going to
But I'm
bring
not
me on
talking
purpose.
about you.
Yeah, true. But I'm just giving examples that you literally have people that enter the service industry. You have nurses, you have people that help other people and not resolve their own issues. How many of these nurses marry these alcoholics or enable these men to be less than what they need to be,
Right.
and it drains them?
They insert themselves into an occupation that allows themselves to be this caregiver
Yes,
and this
and then
codependent. These are like,
and,
listen,
hmm
I'm not condescending when I say this, but these are jobs that are great for people that have a codependency.
Yeah, no, and then they marry a man or a woman or a mate who has a problem. So they're a caregiver at work and they're a caregiver at home. But the fact of the matter is, they get no break. And so, like, yeah, my husband's alcoholic. Yeah, my wife is this.
Until they reach the point where they can't deal with it no more, and then they get rid of that person, and then they start over. It's like
To
that
find
joke.
somebody
It's like
else.
that joke where it's like, women are always pushing you to change and change and change, and you do everything that they tell you to do, and then one day you're watching TV, and she looks over you, and she's like, "You've changed." I'm like, "Bitch, this is what you
you
wanted."
you changed me. Look, again, we talked about this in private all the time. When a man meets a woman, he doesn't want her to change. When a woman meets a man, she wants him to change. And so you end up, you're pulling in two different directions. You want the chick you met at the club with big titties and big ass,
Yes,
and you never
keep
want
the
her.
body, keep the waist small,
You,
okay?
yeah, you don't want her to evolve at all. And on the flip side, she's like, man, you got mad potential. Potential, you know what potential is? Means you ain't doing shit now.
Okay,
Everybody
let
has
me
potential.
say something. My preference for women is that they got to take care of themselves. If you are not taking care of your body, then that is going to become a problem. And, I understand there can be some really nice people that, that don't work out, but I prefer a woman that works out because to me, that means she has fighting spirit. That's important. And that fighting spirit will, if when transmitted through rigorous exercise, is a beautiful thing because you see it manifest into something very sexy. And
I
so that,
You like goals. That's a goal. You want to see that goal achieved. That's some beautiful shit.
yeah.
That's what you do.
But not just that, but like it looks good too. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody is like drooling all, over these Instagram thoughts. What I do is I decapitate all of them. I cut their head off and I look just at the body. I'm like, all right, you work on something there. But that's the thing though. It's like, you know, this whole vampire thought thing is not attractive to me at all. You know what I'm saying? But though the results are nice. You know what I'm saying? And I'm talking about without the filters. The results are real nice. But I don't like a woman that is so oriented towards her appearance that she completely neglects her own intellect. That will
It's
make
such.
me fall back.
But this is the whole thing you talked about the whole time is that you got to have that balance, and people don't know how to have balance, or they're not disciplined enough to balance themselves. And so that's why, like I said, if you follow just the annual cycles, it'll balance you for you. So you put on some weight in the winter, you lose it in the spring and summer. You put on some weight in the autumn and winter. You just you follow the guidelines that God has for you, and everything will work
Or just
out.
keep your weight under control.
Period.
You know what I'm saying? Like, get off your ass and and make sweat. Like, push your body to an extreme. Get out of that ease. You know what I'm saying? And go and like make yourself breathe hard for 15 minutes. Get your heart rate up for 15 minutes and fucking sweat. Get the toxins, get the shit, get the Krispy Kreme, get the fucking, Sonic Burger sweat out of your fucking body. Shouldn't be eating that bullshit anyway, but you know what I'm saying.
Like I told you, that's just a delicacy. We're convinced that it's an everyday thing, but that food should be eaten once or twice a year.
And
You
matter of
should,
fact, here's another way to look at like diet. Excuse me, live it, because it's not something. It's something you got to be doing every day. Like look toward the foods that you hated as a kid, and ask yourself, why did I hate this food? What was it about this food that I hated so much? Because it's gonna be vegetables, everybody across the
nah,
board,
nah. I hate liver. Remember,
right? But
liver was
look,
disgusting.
you're gonna look at this, and you're gonna say like, why? Why am I so against, broccoli? Or why am I so against this? Or why am I so against that? You know what I'm saying? So then it becomes like, all right, maybe I should start eating some of these vegetables and find a way to make them palatable because there's value in these vegetables. They have fiber, they have nutrition. Start putting this stuff back into your diet so that you can get full on less food. You know what I'm saying?
Fix yourself. That's all this is about.
Fix
Fixing
yourself.
yourself.
Not just that, but it's not just fix yourself because it's really more so about expanded awareness because in that expanded awareness, you then see that, all right, the winter is coming and winter will be here eventually. So if winter's going to be here eventually, then I need to be more concerned. I need to be more concerned with what is going on with the upcoming winter. You know what I'm saying? Like, how can I be prepared for this? But I can't prepare for winter 2 weeks before, winter starts. No.
That's deep. That's not preparing. That's responding. Don't respond to some shit. Like, look, I got a homeboy just moved in a new house. I'm like, hey, bro, you're gonna need a snowblower. You got a long driveway. Oh yeah, man, I'll get it later. Man, I looked at one. I'm like, look, I just gave you advice. How you handle it? You an adult, but I'm just trying to tell you. Like, I'm not your father. I'm your homie. I'm just trying to tell you, like, look, you gotta find one of them joints on sale, because as long as your driveway is, you gonna need a snowblower.
Mm.
But that's what we're talking about. The thing is, we're adults and we have discernment, and we know that there is a negative thing or
But that
something that
person, that person, he's not just gonna need a snowblower. He needs to go out and buy some salt too.
oh,
He needs to buy this. Why? See, this is the problem. Buying a winter coat. Why are you buying a winter coat in October? Why are you buying a winter coat in November? You need to have your winter coat in motherfucking August.
man, you need to buy that shit. Look, you
In the
buy that shit
off
in
season.
spring.
Buy that shit
In the off season.
listen.
I was going there.
Listen.
I was going there.
When they're clearing out all of the fucking winter coats, in March, you need to be taking your ass to fucking Macy's. You need to be taking your ass to motherfucking Burn to Coat Factory, wherever you buying the winter coat, and buy them
Hmm.
shits that they're trying to liquidate. I don't give a fuck if it's gonna be out of season, out of style next year. Your ass gonna be warm, dummy.
Look, I shop in the clearance section. I mean, me and Clarence, we real close.
See, this
Look,
this is we could have had this shit at the beginning of the fucking episode right here, because the fucking a winter coat, motherfucker, that's one thing you gotta have. We gotta have them down here. You gotta have them up there. Your ass might be traveling, to the north. You know what I'm saying, to go see some people. You need to have your ass a decent winter coat. That's some real shit right there. A good winter coat is indispensable.
look, when you drive, I usually keep a coat in the trunk. You know
In
this.
the trunk.
I keep just because things happen. People are arrogant. Man, my car won't break down. All it takes is one slip or something to happen,
Mm-mm.
accident happened, and you
Mm-mm.
standing out there shivering. So
Yeah, you better know
look,
some Wim Hof techniques, motherfucker.
look. No, what we're saying is that people tend to engage too much in the wrong thing. So that's why when we say fall back, it's like this is your chance to prepare. This is your chance to get what you need in order. But like I said, but then you immerse yourself in the wrong thing. You give yourself over to things that don't need that much attention. Like my brother told you, when you make your goal money, you fuck shit up. There's other things out there that you could focus on that would enrich your life a lot more. Or when you develop this skill, you can make money on the side without having to devote your entire time. There's levels to this. Rental property. Right now the big thing you hear on the internet are boring businesses. Fucking vending machines and car washes or parking lots and shit like that, where you own the shit and it makes money. And then that gives you more time for your family or your goals or your fitness goals. That's the kind of stuff we talk about. So, yeah, look,
Dude, a
make
laundromat
yourself,
is a cash business.
period. Like, you can launder money at a laundromat. You
Yeah.
get it?
Yeah. Like, they don't know how much you fucking making on those fucking machines.
In them quarters, it's all in quarters. So, but yeah, and we're talking about creating a situation where you could make yourself the person that you need you to be, and not devote so much time to the rat race and impressing others, but impress yourself sometimes. Love yourself to where you like, hey, I'm the shit. Cultivate, and but by doing that, one of the things is preparing for the long haul. Having a storeroom with shit in it, having a mental storeroom, like infuse what you get. Like I said, when your parents release you to society, are you draining from society or are you adding to society? All this shit is what we're talking about in this episode.
That's right. So observe your surroundings and notice the change of season and prepare accordingly ahead of time. That's all I got. We out. Peace.
Holla back.